High above the clouds where oxygen thins and the wind cuts like a blade, there stands the roof of the world, the Himalayas. Towering peaks, endless snowfields, and sheer cliffs that swallow the horizon. So how did early humans, with no maps, no boots, and barely any clothes, cross this deadly mountain range? This is not just a story of migration, it's a story of survival, of cooperation, of ancient courage against one of the harshest environments on Earth. Let's go back tens of thousands of years and follow the footsteps of the very first humans to challenge the impossible. 50,000 to 60,000 years ago, early humans were on the move. The global ice age had created shifting environments, pushing people to find food, warmth, and safety. Human groups were spreading out of Africa, following coastlines and river valleys into South Asia. Eventually, they reached a monstrous obstacle, the Himalayas, a fortress of rock formed by the clash of tectonic giants, India slamming into Asia. This was no gentle slope. The Himalayas rise sharply, with some passes exceeding 5,000 meters in elevation. Snowstorms, avalanches, and sheer cliffs made the mountains nearly impassable. To the south, warm jungles and rivers. To the north, the Tibetan plateau, cold, dry, and deadly. And yet, migration continued, but not by individuals alone. These crossings were likely done by groups of 20 to 50 people, extended families, or tribal bands, moving cautiously, helping one another through the extremes. The humans reaching the Himalayan frontier weren't all the same. Some were early Homo sapiens, but others may have belonged to a mysterious branch of the human family, the Denisovans. Discovered only recently through a finger bone in a Siberian cave, Denisovans left behind almost no fossils, but their DNA lives on, particularly in people from Tibet in Southeast Asia. These early populations had no written language, no GPS, but they had something else: fire for warmth and protection, flint and obsidian tools for cutting and hunting, possibly skin tents or cave shelters, oral knowledge passed down across generations. And most importantly, they had each other. These were cohesive groups, likely led by experienced elders or hunters, moving as collective units across harsh terrain. Cooperation wasn't optional, it was survival. High-altitude regions above 4,000 meters are known today as the death zone. Oxygen levels drop, human performance declines. Without acclimatization, modern people can die within days. But somehow, early humans didn't just visit these regions, they settled them. The cold was brutal. Nights dipped to minus 30 degrees Celsius. The air burned the lungs. Trees disappeared above 4,000 meters, so fuel was scarce. Food was even scarcer, just a few roots, mountain goats, and snow hares. Archaeological evidence, such as tools and burned bone fragments, suggests these weren't isolated camps. They were multi-family encampments where tasks like fire building, food gathering, and shelter maintenance were shared across the group. Only by working together could they survive what nature threw at them. In 2014, a team of geneticists made a breakthrough. They discovered that Tibetans possess a unique version of a gene called EPAS1, the so-called super athlete gene, which helps cells use oxygen more efficiently at high altitudes. The shock? This gene didn't originate in Homo sapiens. It came from Denisovans. This means that somewhere in the foothills or valleys of Asia, interbreeding occurred. Denisovans already adapted to life in high places, passed on survival tools in their DNA. This wasn't a one-time miracle. These crossings happened over centuries. group after group slowly selecting for traits that could withstand the thin air and freezing temperatures. The success wasn't just in the blood, it was in the bonds. These early communities were the engines of adaptation. Today, archaeologists have discovered stone tools and burned animal bones on the Changtang Plateau and near Nuya Davu, the highest known Paleolithic site in the world, over 4,600 meters in altitude. These sites suggest something remarkable: repeated human occupation, likely by nomadic groups traveling together, using the same high-altitude routes across generations. These weren't random wanderers. They moved with purpose, probably following animal migration, seasonal changes, and memory shared through oral tradition. The trails they walked may have become the earliest trans-Himalayan corridors, well before the Silk Road. Their camps show signs of planning, coordination, and shared effort. This was not survival by isolation, but by community. The human crossing of the Himalayas marked more than a physical achievement. It redefined the human range. Once across, populations spread north into what is now Western China, Mongolia, and Siberia. Eventually, these high-altitude survivors contributed to the waves of people who would reach the Americas via the Bering Land Bridge. More than that, adapting to the Himalayan environment sparked innovations, improved clothing, group hunting strategies, stronger social organization in extreme conditions. The harshness of the journey forged tighter bonds within small communities. These early tribes didn't just move through the mountains. They became mountain people whose descendants still live at the roof of the world today. They weren't mountaineers. They were parents, children, hunters, moving together, watching over one another, carrying their young, tending their elders, sharing fire and food. They walked through ice storms, over glaciers, across rivers frozen into silence. And because they stayed together, they survived. The Himalayas weren't the end of the human journey. They were a test, a crucible. And once, long ago, a small band of humans stood at the foot of those peaks, looked up, and walked forward together.